This is perfect for the Buccaneers. A trade is looming for them as a need at linebacker is severely needed, and a name that's been kind of circulated quite a bit that would be coming at a low cost just because of what's happened with him on his team with the Bengals has now made things a little bit more interesting and realistic for the Buccaneers to make a move. I'm Sebastian with Buccaneers Digest. Welcome back, everybody. We're doing more trade stuff, more trade talks, just because, listen, November 4th is coming up. We need to talk about all the options that are out there. The Bucs they're bound to make a move. They have all the bye week to really mull over a lot of these decisions. They don't have to worry about a game this week, so it sounds like just the perfect time for something to happen, and I think it will. It's just a matter of when, who, where, when, why, exactly all these things. So what we're going to talk about a little bit about today. And just before we get into it, subscribe, all that good stuff. You know the deal. Just join the crew, baby. Like that's all that's needed. All right, here we go. Let's jump right into it. Who are we talking about? Logan Wilson. You saw the thumbnail. He requested a trade from the Bengals, which was a bit surprising, I'd say. Adam Schefter reported it about a week ago. And I think people were like intrigued by this decision, but then people were like, okay, the Bengals not the best ownership that in the league for sure, but then also okay, then you start to look at his stats. Maybe he has not been having his best year statistically, and he's been getting benched a couple times. But this guy's a team captain. He was on that Super Bowl team with the Bengals. He was on good Bengals defenses. Obviously, the Bengals defense is not nearly what it used to be, but that's kind of what I want to talk about. It's just the fact that a change of scenery does so much for so many players. It can really change your entire attitude and your work ethic, all these things. Now, these are professionals. They shouldn't need like just a different view or a different group to be able to play better. But listen, Todd Bowles, he is defensively, I think, getting better and better, which I didn't think was very much possible. But it feels like just with the personnel that we've had. Listen, we've got some great players on defense. Don't get me wrong, but there's teams that rely more on their talent than their scheme, and I think Todd Bowles, his scheme really does a lot of wonders for this team. So I think Logan would actually be a really good fit here, just leader wise. We need because Sebastian Dennis. I mean, he's new. We can't expect him to be a team leader. We also have Lavonte, so that, it's not necessarily needed, but he won't be around forever. And Logan is, he's in his late 20s, so at the same time, maybe it'd be nice to get a new body in there to learn from one of the greats. And so anyway, I think it's something that the Buccaneers are absolutely considering. ESPN also listed Logan Wilson as their 11th top trade candidate or target. It says the buzz is that the Bengals are younger at linebacker, relegating Wilson to a reserve role in favor of rookie Barrett Carter, despite Wilson's status as a team captain. I've talked to believe the Bengals are open to dealing Wilson, whose base salary is $4 million. This season. Next year, Wilson has a base of $6 million. That is from Jeremy Fowler. The tape that describes Logan Wilson, that is a 3-down defender with the coverage, instincts, and range to impact the pass defense. He has 11 interceptions and 11 pass breakups over his entire career, but plus he has an average 7 tackles per game during his 5+ seasons. Wilson would be an upgrade for multiple teams in the middle of the defense. So they are saying it's more likely than not he is going to get traded. I mean, he did ask for it, and it does seem like the Bengals are open to it just for, they'll see what they can get for him because they're barely using him anyway. But it's kind of weird just because their defense doesn't seeming to be doing well one way or another. Joshua Quippo from Pure Report actually talked about Logan Wilson as a trade candidate for the Buccaneers. He said Wilson is looking for a change of scenery as the Bengals are going full bore with a youth movement at linebacker. If the Bucs were to trade for him after this week, they would just owe him just over $3.2 million. He's also under contract through 2028 at salaries of $6.55 million and $7.215 million, respectively. Given that the Bengals have essentially benched him, the odds are he wouldn't play out that contract and would be released following this season. A 7th-round pick is the most reasonable trade composition for Wilson. And this is what I'm talking about when it comes to, okay, is this something that the Buccaneers would do? Absolutely. We know that, listen, Jason Licht, he loves his draft picks. He doesn't want to get rid of them because he finds them very valuable. He knows his scout team does a lot of hard work to find the players that they do, and we've been doing an amazing job drafting year after year. So it comes down to, okay, measuring, do we want to preserve those future picks, or do we actually want to like make a move that we think that could actually help the team right now, because we are in a Super Bowl window, especially in an area where things are struggling. We've talked about Servatio Dennis and just a lot of his struggles, and that, trading for a linebacker, just for some depth in general, is not the worst idea, especially a guy with strong leadership qualities, guys who have been on elite defenses and has made big plays. He actually had an interception in that Bengals run against the Titans that set them up for their game winner. Maybe you could say it was more on Tannehill, but listen, in the end, the NFL is the NFL. These professionals making plays always matter, especially in the playoffs. So I think that this would be a good move because it would be low cost, both money-wise and trade compensation. And I do think that he has a lot of football left in him. Like we said, he's only in his 5th year. He did have an extension, but now he wants to leave. Cincinnati, just not the best environment. Clearly, it's a bit of a toxic thing going on right now. So let's just allow him to come to Tampa and be part of this awesome community that the Buccaneers have built, and just this culture that we have. I think that it would do wonders for both parties in this sense. Todd Bowles, when talking about trades, said that we feel like hopefully guys can come back. But at the same time, if there's something out there that's available, and depending on whether you got to rob Peter to pay Paul, that we got to weigh those options. So they are open to it, and they're not saying that they're not interested in it. They just have to see, okay, how long is it going to take for certain guys to come back? Do we think that, the compensation is worth it? All that good stuff. And then today, actually, Bengals Logan Wilson was on the stationary bike and not going through stretches this afternoon. And I think this is because the Bengals are trying to preserve Logan for a trade. If he gets injured, then they can't get anything for him. So, maybe there's an injury, maybe there's something lingering. I think that at this point, both sides have kind of said, okay, like let's see what's out there, preserve you this week before the trade deadline. If nothing gets done, then you can come back and play. So that's my guess is what's typically what goes on in those situations. We will see. It does seem like he has the right attitude. He seems like he's saying he doesn't want to have any ill will towards the Bengals, but just wants to move on, would like to move his playing career somewhere else. And I think that's as good as you can put it. Try and keep things pretty nice between all parties, and don't burn any bridges. So I like the way he's handling it. Trade requests are never really the most fun thing for most teams, and it causes a lot of bad blood typically. So overall, I think he has handled things really, really well. Anyway, though, I do think regardless, listen, wouldn't be a huge drastic change for the Buccaneers. It would just really add some depth, some leadership, and just another body, to be honest, because just the linebacking core is really, really shallow, like we've talked about. It feels like after Dennis, there's not much left for us to really hold the fort down. So I think that this would be an important move for the Buccaneers to make. But I want to ask you guys, do you think a 7th rounder is worth taking a flyer on Logan Wilson? Do you think that Logan Wilson isn't even worth it? Let me know in the comments below. I am curious, because I do think that this is a player that he demands attention for a reason. That he's a name, a listed the 11th highest trade trade target, despite being a low cost 7th round compensation. It's because of the other intangibles that are a little harder to see than on the stat sheet. He's not the highest graded linebacker by far. There's a reason why he was being benched for some younger guys. Maybe he's slowed down a little bit, but at the same time, it's just the circumstances really do matter a lot. Are they getting along with the defensive coordinator? Do they fit the scheme? There are all these different things. So I really think that this could be a really good move, a sneaky good move, if the Buccaneers are willing to part ways with the 7th rounder, which I think they should be, because we're hurting a lot. We could use some extra guys. And but yeah, let me know in the comments what you think, because I do think this is an interesting one, just like all the other defensive guys that we've talked about. I feel like this is one that is probably on their radar. We'll see what they do, though. Anyway, let me know, and subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff. I'll see you guys in the next video.